You're watching Strength in Numbers. Today we're chatting with JKey. If you can start off with talking about how you got into music.
I grew up in Queens, New York. I was born in Korea and then I moved to China. I got to New York back in like '98. Like, I wasn't really around music a lot growing up, but I kind of picked up music after I moved to the States. First heard like tracks from High 97 because like an elementary school party or something, and then I started to listen to rap. Actually, the first rap record that I heard was from Korea. Consists of Korean Americans called Drunken Tiger. They feature on the Strength in Numbers album. Growing up listening to these guys, like, it's kind of crazy that I end up being on the same project with them. They had a record called Do You Know Hip Hop, and that was like the first rap record that I heard, and I kind of fell in love with the culture and the genre. Since then, I just been listening to a lot of rap. I didn't speak English before I came to America. I picked it up growing up in New York, but also listening to a lot of rap music. Certain words that I use, a certain intonation. My love for music kind of started because of my love for rap. Started to listen to other genres, jazz, soul, and R&B. Things I need to like write down, need to get out of my system. So I started writing rhymes, well, lyrics or whatever down, like just to kind of get that out of the system. Initially, they were pretty bad. I think I still have a long way to go, but they've gotten better over the years. Pretty much how I end up on Strength in Numbers, you know what I'm saying?
Did you hear of the Mountain Brothers before you started the project?
Yeah, I've been a fan of the Mountain Brothers for a very long time. The first time I heard Chops was on an album by this Japanese group called M-Flow. He was on the second album on Expo Expo on a song called Expo Expo. And Chops kicks off that. I'm probably the only person in the world who actually knows that verse word for word. And I bet Chops doesn't even know that verse word for word. But I know that verse word for word. Like, yo, we globally achieving new high generative creative. We make the exposition mission eliminated. No seeking to fight. Try vocals increasing your sight mission. And I was like, yo, I don't even know what this guy's saying. Yo, this guy's nice. And using all these hard words together. Like, that's crazy. I started to looking into it. This middle school basketball coach that I had at school was friends with this New Jersey-based rap group called Organic Thoughts. And one of the members was this girl named El Gambina, and they had a song where Parallel from the Mountain Brothers was on it. And I think I know that verse word for word too, and I'm probably the only person in the world that knows that verse word for word.
The samurai kick the canalized lines. This is hip-hop life. Glamorized crime. Yo, Mountain Brothers to us, that shit was like the motherfucking
what we grew up on, man.
Parallel, the samurai, keep the canonized line, this is hip-hop life. I think I spit that line for Parallel, and he didn't even know it. It wasn't officially from their albums, but I kind of did my homework, and I went back, and then, you know, I found out about Paper Chase, I found out about Galaxy. I used to work for a record store in Manhattan, Fat Beats, back in like '08 before it closed down. I even bought a Mountain Brothers vinyl, which was on sale. Yeah, I got it right here.
Nice.
Yeah. Self Volume 1. This has Galaxies on it. I've been a huge fan. I think I kind of befriended them on a personal level through like mutual friends like El Gambina, obviously my homie Rek through Twitter. And then when Chops started following me on Twitter, I was like, yo, that's Chops following me on Twitter. That's crazy. I used to write for different hip-hop magazines back in like '07 or '08. So I went to the second Bun B album listening. It was dope. Like, it was just mad food, mad girls, mad rappers coming in and out. And it was cool. And I was there dolo. And then I got like this sheet where they give you a track list for the writers just so they could review the album or whatever. You know, I saw the track list and there were like 2 or 3 songs on there that was produced by Chops. And I was like, yo, is this the same Chops from the Mountain Brothers? So I was like, you know, I went home and did my Kumon, did the research, and I was like, oh shit, it is. That's crazy. You know, and I remember having a good time writing that review. I wrote that review, sent it to the Source, and it got published in the Source, and them motherfuckers never paid me, but it still got published. So yeah, that's my relationship with them. It's all over the place. And I love the second album as well.
How did you get involved with the project itself?
Back in 2011, I was on a track with Rek for that album called Posted, which was also features Hoya and myself as well. So I did the first verse. Chops really liked that record. Like, he really liked that record. So I think he wanted to do something with us. He befriended Rek. Like, I knew about him and we kind of kept in touch, but they were friends before I kind of got into that mix from my memory. Chops came up, drove up from Philly, and it was a big deal for us, man. Like, yo, the Chops, the Mountain Brothers, Parallel was there. We got to finally meet Chops, and, you know, we got to chop it up with him. Just kept in touch. The two of us, and including Hoya, like, we were around each other a lot. So I guess he wanted to do it like kind of like a posse cut where all of us could, you know, showcase our talent. So yeah, like, he kind of gave us a shot. Like, he was just like, yo, man, like, I got this beat, I want to hop on it. For me, honestly, it was a big deal. It was kind of like an honor to hop on this project.
You point out that you already had earlier influences of Korean Americans that are hip hop artists.
Right.
That was already normalized for you. Like, being part of the project, did you see that changing anyway, or helping change the face of Asian Americans?
I think you're right, because I knew a lot of the artists, even the artists that are on the project. I know some of them on a personal basis. For me, like, the project itself wasn't necessarily like a mind-blowing new venture, in the sense that, like, we're trying to showcase uncharted territory to a bigger market. But it was very meaningful because nothing like this has been done before. Even when I think, like, the talent pool is continuously increasing in terms of Asian American artists, whether they're in the urban market or in the pop market or in film industries, whatever. So to do something like this, to literally showcase a whole group of talented Asian American artists in one piece, is something that I believe it kind of had to be done. I'm sure for a lot of people, it was a brand new thing for them. I'm working on a documentary right now where we're highlighting 4 Asian American rap artists. For a person like myself, is relatively, like, yeah, people that are outside of the circle, that could be like a topic that they're not exposed to, and when it's something that they're not used to.
I was wondering if you feel that projects like these are going to help change the way people see Asian Americans in music.
Realistically speaking, I do think it kind of brings in a different facet. You know, I believe in consistency and longevity. I don't think that one project like this would change everything, but I do believe a project like this could start something and lead to bigger things. For instance, like, I think it was Far East Movement, they said this some time ago. When Jin dropped his album, Rest is History, it was a big deal amongst Asian Americans, but it wasn't big enough deal where he went platinum. He sold 100,000 copies and everybody considered him a flop. 100,000 copies now is a lot, but back then I guess it wasn't that much. So I believe it was a Far East Movement interview where they said, like, yo, if, like, everybody in the Asian American community who loves music, who supports hip hop culture, went out and bought his CD on some strength of numbers type, you know, movement, like, he probably would have went platinum. He probably would have had much more success. He probably would have had leverage to open doors for more artists, but that unity wasn't really there. So I think a project like this, at least, like, making the attempt, is really important. And I feel like in the long run, it would be effective, for sure.
So what kind of projects are you working on right now?
I'm working on a solo project, like a solo album, with my partner, Avec Plaisir, who actually mixed and mastered Rekstizzy's last album, Whatever You Say. Avec Plaisir, remember that name, one of the best engineers in the game. So he and I are working on a project where he's producing all the beats and I'm doing the rapping. I recorded a mixtape about 1.5 to 2 years ago, rocking over, you know, previously released beats by some of the dopest producers in Korea. The project is called Wheels. I've been putting out a song every week from the project for the last 6-7 weeks now. You could, like, check them out on the SoundCloud page from our crew, Authentic, the soundcloud.com/AuthenticNYC. And as I mentioned before, I'm working on a documentary called Bad Rap. Hopefully by the time this interview goes up, the fundraiser for the documentary is up. It's a documentary I've been working on with my partner, Salima Karoma. It's a film about 4 Asian American rap artists. This does not include myself. It's 4 other artists, and actually 2 of the artists were involved in the Strength in Numbers project. It's starring Dumbfounded, Aquafina, Rekstizzy, and Lyrics. 4 different artists 4 different stages of their careers, 4 different styles, 4 different stories, perspectives. We are covering them. We've also interviewed a lot of different people within the Asian American hip hop circle, outside of it, writers, industry executives, and so on and so forth. The 40-minute version is currently completed, but we're looking to push it and create a 70-minute version. Actually, the fundraiser is out now, so you should put some money down. Type in Bad Rap Indiegogo and you'll see the fundraiser. Put as much money as you can. If you have any rich uncles or aunties, make sure you holler at them.
Like, you have different roles that you play. What would you say that you mostly identify as?
You could say like, oh, like JKey does so many things, but in the bad sense, you could just say that I have like ADD. I think as an artist, you just have like all these different interests. I did the whole process. I went to school. I was a pretty good student. I went to a pretty decent school. After I graduated, I had a full-time job. So I did the whole 9. You know, I made money. It wasn't a lot, but you know, I did it. But for the longest time, I was trying to pursue these other things and all these things that I'm pursuing now pretty much. So I kind of needed to eventually get those out there. So in a way, everything I'm pursuing now was like 23 years of stuff that was kind of built up. And it's finally like, yes, I can finally do all these things. Now this kid just wants to go to the supermarket and get like every Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry flavor that are out there. That's kind of where I am in terms of my artistic vision. Hopefully, like, yeah, but now like I'm not trying to add any additional stuff to my plate because it's already full.
I commend people that are able to handle multiple jobs. Are you, what's your favorite album or book that's behind you right now?
My favorite album is by this guy called Fantasy. It's by this artist named Jimbo. He's an artist from Korea. I actually manage him. That's why this is my favorite album. Rek's album is actually not in that bookshelf. It's in the other bookshelf. But you make sure and go cop that as well. Whatever you say is available on iTunes right now. So I was a part of the promo process for this album, the creative process as well. So this is probably my favorite album in terms of something that is very dear to me. It's available on iTunes as well, so you should download it. I have so many albums. You know, your go-to choices are obviously like, yeah, like I love Illmatic, 36 Chambers. I could go on and on about M-Flow, man. I love those guys. If Verbal from M-Flow ever sees this, holla at your boy. They were doing things like what artists now are doing, or even like artists will be doing, fusing all these different genres, incorporating rap. Basically doing shit that Black Eyed Peas did in like the late 2000s, but doing it personally for me a lot better.
You haven't mentioned Tupac or Biggie?
I like Pac. I like Big. If you grew up in the early 2000s and you're exposed to like Kazaa, like Napster, and you type in rap, the first options you get is gonna be Ice Cube, Tupac, Biggie, Jay, probably a lot of Eminem, you know. So like you need to kind of go through that phase if you grew up in that era. So yeah, I had a big Pac phase as well, like everybody else. I can't say I could relate to the stuff he was saying, man. Like he was saying some wild shit. Like
yeah.
I listened to a lot of Nas growing up. When I first heard Nas, I was like, wow, like I feel like I kind of got smart listening to this, you know.
Right.
Well, that was a big deal for me, so I kind of really fell in love with Nas and the whole element of storytelling. I really value that in my personal style. In terms of flow, I wanted to be a real hardcore New York rapper when I was younger. I wanted to sound like Prodigy from Mobb Deep, but I realized that wasn't really my calling because when you first start, you try to emulate other people's style, you know what I mean? Like, you try to do different things, you try to sound like this person, that person, and you through that process, you kind of figure out who you are. And only recently I felt like I was able to figure out who I am. Like before, like I have a younger brother who loves Rakim. Like whenever I spit like a 16 for him, he's like, yo man, like your flow is like real whiny. It sounds like mainstream rap. Like you should sound like Rakim. But for a long time, like that kind of affected me because I was like, oh man, like I need to sound a certain way. I think in recent times, I was just like, you know what, fuck all that shit. Like I'm just gonna let it go and just make crazy noises and use different flows and just you know, like Rek always says it, like, yo, just have fun with it, yo. Exactly in that tone. It's like, yo, just have fun with it, yo. Like, he does that.
Rex very entertaining. So do you have any last words to share with the Strength in Numbers audience?
I really hate it when artists do that. It's like, yo, so-and-so is available now. You need to go copy.
You can just say thank you. Like, you can just say, hey,
But
thanks
the thing
for
is, I kind of need to plug it in. First things first, you could check out my music on Authentic NYC, is ESSENTIC NYC. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on SoundCloud. My personal account is JKey, JAEKICHO. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My latest project, Reels, we're going to drop that within a few months. As a mixtape, 2-part mixtape. You should also check out Rekstizzy. Whatever You Say is available now. You should download that, copy it, watch the videos, share it with your friends, do what you gotta do. Jimbo, his latest album, Fantasy, is available now on iTunes, and his song Fantasy just won like the best R&B song of the year at the Korean Music Awards. And yeah, man, so make sure you follow him on SoundCloud. If you're a K-pop fan, he did a song for Shiny last year. He's doing some big things. Last but not least, my project with my partner Salima Karoma, Bad Rap, is coming soon. The fundraiser is available now. Make sure you throw in anywhere from $5,000 to $5,000 if you can. Yeah. If you're rich, donate it for a good cause, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, go out one night, get a table, that's like $400 or $500 right there, man. Especially in New York City. I don't know if you live, but it is a good cause because this film will elevate your lifestyle. Oh yeah, last but not least, man, if you're interested in any Korean content, make sure you log on to noonchi.us. That's NOONCHI.us. Korean content written for an English audience, that's the site you need to check out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alright.
All right. Thanks, JKey.
Oh, perfect.